Welcome to The Bard's Verdict, the podcast where we delve into the timeless works of William Shakespeare. I'm your host, Zion Lal, and today we have a fascinating topic on the table, Macbeth. This tragic tale of ambition, power, and the human condition, it was one that continues to captivate audiences to this very day. Joining me is my esteemed co-host, Brian Mares.
Thank you for having me, Zion.
The play Macbeth tells the story of a Scottish thane who, driven by his ambition and the prophecies of the supernatural, commits regicide to become king. It's a tale told by Macbeth, who, might I add, was a bad person from the start, filled with moral dilemmas, guilt, and the consequences of unchecked ambition.
Wait, you said Macbeth was a bad person from the start?
Yeah, bro, trust. Let me explain. Initially, Macbeth is celebrated for his bravery in battle and is rewarded for his role in defeating the Thane of Cawdor, who aided a rebellion against the kingdom.
Doesn't that just make him a good warrior?
Nuh-uh.
Oh, what do you mean?
Because amidst the festivities, Macbeth's ambition leads him to contemplate murdering Malcolm so that kingship can be his. He expresses his ambition by saying, "The Prince of Cumberland, that is a step on which I must fall down or else overleap. For in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires. The eye wink at the hand, yet let that be, which the eye fears when it is done to see," said by Shakespeare in Act 1, Scene 3, lines 40 to 44. In these lines, Macbeth knows that Malcolm is an obstacle to his ambition and implores the stars to conceal his dark intentions, suggesting that he contemplates something sinister like murder, which does occur later in the play. Through this quote, Macbeth values action, since as soon as he hears this, he's ready to start killing. What sayeth you, Brian?
Well, contrary to your opinion, I argue that Macbeth's goodness is noticeable from the beginning of the play, as he values assurance in the natural order. Upon hearing the witch's prophecies, Macbeth initially relies on faith and the natural order to guide him to the throne without having to take any action. Though he remains uncertain about the nature of the message, perceiving it as neither wholly good nor wholly bad. While Macbeth confesses that thoughts of murder are confined to his imagination, they overwhelm him with the sheer horror of such an act, making it difficult for him to function normally. As he contemplates becoming king, he also states, "If chance will have me king, why chance may crown me, without my stern," as said in Shakespeare Act 1, Scene 3, lines 146 through 147.
I see.
Yeah, so this quote serves as additional evidence that Macbeth, upon receiving the witch's prophecies, he will attain the titles of Thane of Glamis, Thane of Cawdor, and even the King of Scotland through the predetermined course of fate, without having to take any action or exercise any effort. Macbeth willingly delegates his destiny to the hands of fate, firmly accepting that if becoming king is destined, it will occur without him having to actively pursue it.
While your argument highlights Macbeth's ambition to let fate govern his decisions, I would argue that the dagger scene symbolizes his desire for killing. As he walked towards Duncan's chamber, Macbeth sees an imaginary dagger before him and attempts to grasp it, saying, "Is this a dagger which I see before me, they handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still," said by Shakespeare in Act 2, Scene 1, lines 34 to 36. This quote acts as his attempts to seize his opportunity by the means of the dagger. Additionally, he later observes imaginary blood on the dagger, stating, "And on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood, which was not so before," said by Shakespeare in Act 2, Scene 1, lines 47 to 48. This imagery could symbolize how he is now tainted with royal blood that he spilt by his own hand, or I should say, his own dagger, therefore showing that he values violence, because this dagger leading him symbolizes his itching desire to take what's his. After all, it was prophesized, right?
While I understand your interpretation of the dagger symbolizing Macbeth's desire for killing, the mere thought of just harming King Duncan frightens him due to his value of relationships. He contemplates Duncan as a genuine friend and considers the potential consequences of his actions. Not to mention, Lady Macbeth also plays a significant role in shaping Macbeth as a whole and his decisions. From the quote, "Hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear. Thy very stone pride of my whereabout. And take the present horror from the time, which now suits with it, whiles thy threat he lives. Words to the heat of deeds, to cold breath gives. I go and it is done, the bell invites me," as said in Shakespeare Act 2, Scene 1, lines 58 to 63. Macbeth, as seen in this quote, is deliberately delaying carrying out Lady Macbeth's plan to kill Duncan, Although Macbeth is initially portrayed as this ferocious warrior, Macbeth is not the mastermind behind Duncan's assassination, nor is that the first thought that comes to mind. And not only that, but he also lacks the ease of killing a genuine friend. It is not till Lady Macbeth influences Macbeth into the idea of murdering, as seen in Act 1, Scene 7, leading to a gradual moral corruption. Now, before we continue, let's pause briefly to hear a word from our sponsor.
Have you ever felt doubtful about any decisions that come your way? Whether it be relationship advice or a plot to kill a king, the Witch's Foretelling will give you insight about the future of your life, so that you can actually do something about it. You'll be able to visit the Witches free of no cost to gain insight about the future of your life. Then you could actually do something about it. Please contact 042-315-6404. Again, that is 042-315-6404 for a free estimate today. And if you call now, you're able to get another trip to the Witches free.
Possible side effects include treason, violent desires, lack of reason, lack of head, death, delay, insanity, visions, overconfidence, anger, violent thoughts, delusions, sleepwalking, sickness, various pleasures, switching, talking, grasping, nation, wonder, doubting, mumbling, gambling with fate, mental confusion, fear, fellowship, ignorance, fighting, bad vision, dehydration, deprivation, nauseous, sedation, headache, drowsiness, back pain, animal insanity, and seizures. Please contact your psychiatrist before consulting the Witches. Thank you. And we're back.
To start, I want to connect the events that happened at the beginning of the story and the end of the story, as we could observe a certain contrast. Initially, the execution of the Thane of Cawdor is marked by his confession of treason, repentance, and acceptance of his fate, as noted by the observation that nothing in his life became him like the leaving of it, said by Shakespeare in Act 1, Scene 4, lines 5 to 8. In contrast, at the story's conclusion, Macduff announces the death of Macbeth, the usurper, with the declaration, "Hail King, for so thou art, behold where stands the usurper's cursed head, the time is free," said by Shakespeare in Act 5, Scene 7, lines 84 to 85. While both were traitors of Scotland, Macbeth stubbornly clings onto the power and refuses to yield, especially when faced with his inevitable demise, although he knows that Macduff was not born of a woman in the conventional sense. This comparison shows how unchecked ambition can lead to stubbornness and downfall, since he ultimately caused this tragedy by murdering the king in the first place. While ambition isn't inherently negative, when it becomes the sole driving force behind every action, it can lead to individuals down a path of self-destruction, as exemplified in Macbeth's tragic ending. This tale could also tell the old proverb that cheaters never get ahead, since Macbeth wanted to cheat fate by getting kingship early, but ultimately failed as a result.
Adding on to what you're saying, Zion, Macbeth's story is relevant in contemporary times because it highlights the dangers of succumbing to peer pressure. The external pressures exerted on Macbeth, particularly by Lady Macbeth, offers a valuable lesson about resisting such influences. Lady Macbeth's reaction when Macbeth deviates from her decisions includes ridiculing and criticizing him. For example, when Macbeth expresses the decision against killing Duncan, she's furious and labeling him as a coward, even stating she would have smashed her own baby's brain if she had promised that to him. As Lady Macbeth states, "This is the very painting of your fear. This is the Ardon dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws and starts, impulses to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire, authorized by her grandam. Shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool," as said in Shakespeare Act 3, Scene 4, lines 62 to 71. Lady Macbeth's relentless pursuit and criticism pushes Macbeth towards adopting this immoral persona. Throughout the play, she shames and berates him for being emotionally vulnerable and failure to meet her expectations. Consequently, Macbeth succumbs to Lady Macbeth's plans, expressing characteristics of stoicism, committing regicide, and embracing a violent demeanor. Therefore, the reader should learn from this and understand to not succumb to peer pressure, but should make their own decisions.
Well, that's it, folks. Thank you, Brian, for joining me in this captivating discussion on Macbeth's enduring relevance. And thank you, dear listeners, for joining us on this journey through Macbeth. Stay tuned for more captivating tales from the world of Shakespeare.